Welcome to the Bougie Black Brother Network. Good evening and welcome to Fade to Black Cinema. I'm Michael, your bougie black brother, and I'm here with my co-host, ABC.
Hello.
So, Alicia and I, about last week, we got to finish the whole series of the anticipated The Twilight Zone series on CBS Access with Jordan Peele. He was the executive producer, and he kind of got that organized to kind of get it rolling. And I was looking forward to it. Were you looking forward to it, baby?
Not really.
So I did, because I like Twilight Zone. And since the Twilight Zone was out before, and they had a couple of movies that I thought was like really, really good. They did a really good job with it, with the movie. I think they had another TV series too that didn't do so well, but they did. Actually, it came out and done well. So, based on Jordan Peele's two successful movies, Get Out and Us, I guess they was willing to throw any money to him with any ideas that he had, and I think it was well worth trying. Put it that way, well worth trying. So this is your typical Twilight Zone process. You know, if you ever saw Rod Serling, he would stand up and he kind of explained the movie, and then the show, and then once again on the backside, kind of finish it off. Jordan Peele basically does the same thing, which it worked out for him. He just you see him as a comedian, so it's kind of weird seeing him do that, but it kind of worked out in the end. So it was 10 episodes, and we're not going through every 10 episodes, but I wanted to get Alicia's thoughts as we talk through the episodes that went by. So the first one was The Comedian. And it was about a comedian who wanted to be famous, and he sat there with I forgot the name of that guy. He's a comedian, and he sat at the bar and said, if you got to give a little yourself. And what happens is every time he talks about a little of something that he knows, they disappear. Mm-hmm. So overall, what did you think about that one?
Oh, it was all right.
So it didn't stick.
No.
So it was interesting because, you know, the concept is whatever you give up in your life, you give up in your life. They didn't do it as well as I would have liked for them to do, but it turned out pretty well. It wasn't great. So it was a very disappointing start. So I'll put it that way. There was better ones, but this was a disappointing start. And then the second one was Nightmare at 30,000 Feet. So do you remember that one, baby?
Yeah.
That was the journalist, Justin Sanderson, finds the fate of Flight 1015 in his hands when he finds a recorder of almost like a play-by-play what's actually happening in this airplane as he jumps on the flight to go wherever. So I like this one because I thought it was going to be like the old series with this gremlin on the wing. So it put my mind into almost preparing for that, but it turned out to be something totally different. And I liked it because he thought he was saving the plane, but the problem was it was him that was going to crash the plane. And it went through the whole process. And he kept thinking, maybe if I do this, this would help. But the recorder was actually going all through the things that he was doing, but he shouldn't have done. If he would have stopped at any given point, he would have been fine. But
it wasn't interesting to me, though.
So you didn't find that one interesting?
No, I didn't find that one interesting.
So then the other one was, episode 3, is Replay. A woman tries to use an old camcorder that can rewind time to help her ensure the future of her college-bound son.
That was good.
So you like that one?
I did like that one.
I didn't like that one.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was interesting that she had an old camcorder because she wasn't new to technology.
Okay.
And so, and since her father, it was her father's, and that's all she knew how to use.
Right.
That she used that and didn't realize that by using it, it changed. It went back and correct things if she wanted to correct them.
Okay.
Until it broke.
Yeah, until it broke.
Right. I thought it was very good how they did that because I understood it a lot better because I'm like, well, why is she using the old camcorder? Oh, because that's all she knows because that's what her father used and taught her. Mm-hmm. And so she carried that, and that was the closest thing she had to her father that she was using.
So it was a simple concept, using an old apparatus that can rewind time, and it wasn't interesting. It was all black people, so maybe that made it attractive in certain ways, but I just thought it was ordinary. I didn't think it was real creative. It was okay, but I didn't think it was real creative, and it was one of the least ones that I liked on there, which took us to The Traveler. The Traveler, on Christmas Eve in Alaska, a mysterious traveler wishes to be pardoned by Captain Lane Pendleton. So this one starts off with an Alaskan woman arresting her brother so he can be pardoned, because every year they pardon someone. So she brings him there, they're celebrating, and she puts him in a cell. But when they come back down to get him, there's somebody in the next cell. And he's there with a suit, with a hat on, and he said he wants to be pardoned. And all types of different things ensues as he goes upstairs and engage with the people that's partying. But he knows a lot more information about them personally, and he's telling them there's a place that you've been hiding because you're a liar, Captain whatever. And he's intimidating him to show where this place is. And come to find out, they were just aliens trying to find a power supply that was being hidden by the military in Alaska. And he made him panic to go find it. And I was like, wow. But the dialogue in between there was interesting to get people's minds manipulated to do things or see things and don't believe in each other just to give up information. What do you think of that?
I didn't quite understand that one. So it went over my head on that one.
Yeah, so if you didn't follow, because a lot of this one was a lot of dialogue. It was a lot of talking back and forth for you to understand where it was leading. Otherwise, it would have been like, where the hell is he going? And why are all the aliens that's coming down right now? But he was kind of telling you in between what they wanted and made him look like he's been lying and cheating for years, even though he didn't realize he did, but he wasn't, because he was hiding things. But he had to hide it for a purpose, but they suckered him into getting that power supply so they can actually come down and then take over Earth. And a lot of them is like that. So, but you said that one's kind of went over your head.
Yes, it did.
So after that one came the Wonder King. A down on his luck campaign manager is determined to get a kid elected as the president of the United States.
Now that one was crazy.
That was crazy. I don't know if you're going to say it's good or bad, but I tell you what, it was pretty wild. And it's about the manipulation of the media for what people can either like or associate to. It wasn't about policy. It wasn't about anything. It was a kid that they liked and said he was going to do things, but he was a child. But this guy manipulated the media for people to not understand that this kid is a kid.
Yeah, he was a kid.
They ignored the fact that he was a kid. They ignored the fact that he didn't know policy. They ignored all of that. And he said, it doesn't matter what I know. I'm going to surround myself with people who do know. And it just reminded me of the big Trump, who don't know shit, but was supposedly bringing intelligent people around him. But he said he's smarter than them. But this kid didn't even really care. He said, I'm the president, so I'm going to do whatever I want. So as he became president by chance, we find that he just does whatever he wants and no one can tell him anything. And he started changing things for him to be like all ruler regardless. And that's what Trump's trying to do. So it was almost painted in that way to be like, this is a big ass child that we have. And this is really what you really are looking at. And he tried. And it was so funny because when they brought the campaign manager in, it was like he was hurt and they had him strapped down. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you didn't know why they was asking him questions and why he was strapped down. But come to find out, as you go through the episode, once he realized what he created, he tried to kill the kid. So once he tried to kill him, he got shot and then they brought him in. And at the end, they I think they executed him or something.
Yeah,
but,
something like that, yeah.
But he was the only one that kind of realized, oh, shit, I messed up.
Yeah.
I messed up. But he used the manipulation of the media and everything to disregard that this kid is a child and don't understand the business of government and politics. And I was like, wow. That was crazy.
Yeah, that one was crazy. That one was like, I couldn't like, y'all elected a damn kid.
Y'all elected a kid.
But you know what? Then when you think about it, it's going on right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's media manipulation of an image that people really are following an image as opposed to a true person who knows what they're talking about. And, you know, this will go on and on. So it was really, really relevant. So I really liked that one, too. That was one of my favorites. Because it was the concept was so current, but real, but ridiculous.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So episode, I think it's 6, is 6 Degrees of Freedom. A space crew prepared for the first human flight to Mars is faced with a life-threatening decision and its consequences. So this was crazy. It was a couple of people going to Mars. And right when they was ready to take off, war goes off, and they didn't know if they should abandon it or they would actually leave, you know what I mean, and go to Mars. So they decide, look, our purpose was to go to Mars, so let's just finish the mission. So as they're in space, they interacting with each other, and one person says, this shit's not true.
Right. The one guy said, yeah.
This is an illusion. There's no condensation in the toilet. There's no this. There's no that. This is not real. And they was kind of like, no. Something's wrong with him. He's going crazy. And what happened? He allegedly opens the door and they think he went off into space and they closed it up.
Yeah, something happened to him.
But he was gone. But then they closed up and they actually landed on Mars. It shows that they landed on Mars. So they open his shields up and say, wow, we landed on Mars. So you say, wow, that guy, what made him go crazy? And then at the end, they show him in an open void and the spaceship they're in a type of a simulator, and there's like some aliens that say, well, they almost figured it out, didn't they?
Yeah.
They almost figured it out.
Yeah.
But he's sitting there and say, well, this guy was the smartest of them all. And they show him sitting there and these aliens are looking at them and there's a simulation around the ship, which was like kind of crazy too. So what do you think about that one?
I didn't like that one.
So I didn't like the lead up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The lead up into all of that.
I think the story could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly. The story just didn't.
It didn't just hit click.
Yeah, because I didn't care about the people.
No.
The people interacting with each other didn't really make me think anything was wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They was just mad at each other. I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
So it was. I liked the concept, but but I just don't think they executed it right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that one was a little weird. Then this was weird. Not all men. That's a meteor shower spreads infection across an entire town, affecting some of the inhabitants more than others. That was the one when the meteor came down and all the men went crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty much that was it.
That was stupid.
Yeah, it was stupid. And then in the end, it was not all men were affected. I mean, all men were affected, but not all men chose to go with those feelings. So there you realize there's men that felt that way and acted on it, but then there was men that made a decision that I'm not going to do it. But it was in the water, but it never affected any of the women. It was stupid. I'm not even.
I didn't want to say no more. That's all I gotta say.
That one was dumb.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love this one. Point of origin. A suburban housewife wants to go home, but where that is unclear.
That's the one that she was an immigrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not just an immigrant, but an immigrant alien.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was all about immigration, that these aliens assimilated into the human race, but turned around and the humans were trying to say, no, you're not allowed.
You're not supposed to be here.
You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here. And they was trying to round up all the aliens, but a lot of them forgot who they were because they assimilated so deep into society.
Yeah.
That
one was really good.
That was really good because it tied into immigration.
But it was a different way, a different twist to it.
Because they looked the same.
Yeah.
This was a white woman with a white family. We come to find out their child, their maid was Hispanic, and she thought she was getting in trouble because she was going to allow the child to use their dress in order to be to go to the school over there.
Yeah.
So her naivete was basically, that's what it's all about. It's not about anything else. But they found signs that she was an alien, kind to assimilate in a certain way. And it went through so many things. And even in the end, she still didn't believe who she was.
Yeah. Exactly.
And just like certain immigrants who come to the United States said, no, I'm an American. Mm-hmm. But some people will never see you as an American because you came from somewhere else.
Yep.
And that one was a deep one. That was really, really deep.
Yeah, that was.
And then the other one's the Blue Scorpion. Following the death of his dad, an anthropology professor finds the reemergence of a gun called the Blue Scorpion, which is about to become the most personal research project. What you think of that one?
That was good.
You know what? I didn't like it.
Yep. Because the thing was the gun control. How the gun had control over the person.
Oh.
So it was a different twist.
That's a good way of you saying it. Mm-hmm. It was gun control, which was gun mind control.
Yes.
As opposed to gun control. Yeah, that's a nice way of saying it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't see it that way. I saw it as, the gun had a spirit within them. It gives you what you want, but it gives you power by having it. But if you use it as a metaphor of, when you have a gun, it controls the way you do things.
Exactly.
It controls what's right, what's wrong, and people wanted to get their hands on it. They was paying money. They wanted to pay big money for it.
Yeah.
But the gun wanted to stay with the person and said, if you keep me, I'll make everything right for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And every time everything was going right, he kept the gun. He just kept the gun, and he went from that. I like that one. Looking at it that way, it made it more interesting. I didn't really
see it in that way,
but that's a good way of saying it. Thanks for saying that. It made me think. And then the last one, it was Blurry Man, and it just says Blurry Man.
I didn't like that one.
So it was too much to follow.
It was
with not enough detail.
Yeah, it was no.
Basically, Rod Serling was the Blurry Man. And it was about a young writer who was trying to write the right kind of stories for the Twilight Zone series that Jordan Peele was on. but she wanted to say, why do you never get to the Twilight Zone? But then the blurry man shows up and
takes her
Eventually into the Twilight Zone to say, this is where I wanted to show you. This is where everyone should go if they understand what I'm talking about. But I didn't get it.
No, I didn't get it either.
If it either truly went over my head or they really didn't do a good job trying to explain it.
Yeah.
So it ended really bad for me.
Yes, that last episode was not that impressed.
So overall, if you notice, there was just a couple of the 10. So it was about 6 episodes that I would be content with. So 6 out of 10 gives it a 6.5 for me. Why? Because the other ones wasn't good enough, and their shows like what we saw, like especially Black Mirror, and there's a couple of other shows that really gives you great writing, great substance, a supernatural feel to things that makes you go, ooh, this is weird as hell. And this it didn't do that good. And I told Leisha I thought it's because it was on CBS.
Yeah. I mean, remember, we don't do TV scores.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give it a score. I'm just going to say I'm not going to watch it again.
Yeah. So,
I mean, there was, like you said, there was so many other shows. Like Black Mirror, we can go back and see so many different episodes of it and still
say this shit was great.
Yeah. And there was the other one with the cowboy.
Oh, the Buster Gribbs, the Ballad of Buster.
Yeah.
Those
were amazing.
Each and every one of them was amazing.
Yes. So
every one of them.
So there's so many different ways, like, Twilight Zone. I even go back to watching the old Twilight Zone, which comes on TV occasionally, and they have a marathon, and still those were awesome
because they was written awesome.
Yeah, and I mean they're short little.
They look crazy, and they look cheesy.
Oh my god!
But the story got you like, oh my god.
Yeah, and so this one, I just hope that if they do get another season, that is much better than the first season.
Well, they'll get better writers, or they move it off CBS so they can get some ambiguous things that people be like, whoa, well, I didn't get it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it didn't.
Well, another thing is, a lot of people is not going to pay to see CBS Access.
Oh, we didn't.
Not supposed to say that.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Not supposed to say that.
I'm sorry. Anyway, but because there's a lot of other shows that, and remember the other Netflix one that had like the robot sex and something else, and they were all animated.
Yeah,
that was
nice
really
too.
really good.
Yeah,
that was really good.
Yeah, that was good too.
So when you're looking at in comparison, what would you see? I would see something other than this. So in the end, we would see something other than this. And that's what makes this a failure, basically, because there was only a couple that was on there that was worthy of saying, "Whoa, what a good episode." But when you have the majority of the episodes that it's not really good, then it's not really worth it. So yeah, we don't normally rate it, but I put my rating based on how many episodes I like. So anywho, Fade to Black Cinema. See us every Wednesday on all podcast downloads. And if you're sitting by YouTube, go to Bougie Black Brother Network and you'll catch us there, and you see Fade to Black Cinema or Urban Lifestyle Cafe, which is our older name that we moved away from. But other than that, we'll go into a couple more, but I doubt if we come back to the Twilight Zone ever again. So, anything else, babe?
Not bad.
So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on Fade to Black Cinema.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.